Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a airbrush for beginners, a little class. We're going to be doing Mario from Mario Kart. Here's some bits that we're using in today's video.
Like this. Like this. Like this. Like this.
So they're the bits that we are using, guys. The links are going to be in the description to the brush, the paint, the paper. You can use your paper of your choice, as this is just a practice piece. If you go wrong, it doesn't matter. I could probably go wrong on this, probably more than likely go wrong on this. This is a dot to dot. Now, I'm going to put the next shot up now, which is how you project your image up. I'll see you in a minute. Right guys, projecting your image up. I've got the projector set up behind the camera and I'm blowing the image up. So if I go in front of the screen like that, you'll see my shadow coming across. So how you sort of pencil your artwork out is you sit to the side out the way of the projector, so you've got the light source coming up, and then just pencil round like that and work your way around your image. Nice and easy. Follow the lines. This is a dot to dot, so pencil your lines in. You're basically penciling the lines in because we're going to be going over again on these lines with your airbrush. So just pencil the image out. This is A3 paper, so I've sort of blew it up so I've got like an even type border around it. Get it central the best you can, and that's how you project your artwork up. So that's how we've projected it up. Now I've done this as a dot to dot, but you're going to pencil the whole thing out. So I've penciled the whole thing out, but I've just sort of kept the numbers around the outside. Now the image you see on the screen here is a different image because I couldn't find the dot to dot image completed in that colour. So I've just grabbed another Mario picture to work from, as in what's blue, what's red, the logo red and white. But we're going to outline this so it's more sort of cartoony. So this will give you your dot to dot to follow that you've got round here. And this is going to get your trigger control down with your brush to get a set line and work round. It doesn't matter if you blow out and some bits are thicker or thinner. This is just a practice panel just to get you working on your trigger. So that's how we projected it up. We're going to move on now to stencils, and you will see how we made some stencils. Right guys, we're going to move on to cutting some stencils out. We've got some old cards here, birthday cards, Christmas cards, absolutely perfect. This is the Melee one that I usually use on the channel with the shapes. So you're basically going to cut out just a random shape. So just slice the card like that, and then just do a random shape. Like that. That one will do. We'll do another one on here. Can be any shape because you're going to be using all different sides of it. We'll have a look at that one. That one will do. We'll get one more out of this piece. Do a smaller shield on this one. Something like that. So we've got 3 shields that we can use. And you can use these sort of multiple times, it's not a problem. As I say, you can buy these ones, but for cheapness, if you've got old cards, bits of paper or cards best like this, Christmas cards, birthday cards works fine. So that's how you'll cut your shields out. So nice and simple, guys, as you've seen in that little clip. Christmas cards, birthday cards, we always get them. You get loads of them. People just usually throw them away, but they're perfect for making shields out of because they've got a shiny surface. So if you keep your shiny surface to the top, you can wipe these down and reuse them. So nice and simple, just some random shapes. We've got the paint mixed up. So I'm going to run you through that little paint process right now. Right guys, we're moving on to paint. We're going to be using a black. I have got a black, just FW Inks black. We've got a blue, we've got white, red, a orange, light orange, and a yellow. So we're going to make a brown. So I'm going to drop some yellow in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drops of that. We're going to drop a red in. We'll go 1 drop of that for now. A few drops of water, probably 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll drop 10 isopropyl. 10. And we're going to drop a little bit of blue in. One drop of blue. Mix that up and we've got a nice brown there. We're not got to go too dark on it. Might go 1 more drop of blue. So we've got a brown. The other ones we're going to go blue straight out the bottle, so 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll go 5, 6 of them. We'll go 10 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we'll do 20 of this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's about 20. Doesn't matter if you go thinner. So aim for your consistencies like that, so it's nicely thin, because we're going to build these layers up like that. We'll go sort of the white straight out the bottle, and you can dilute it that way. The red will do the same. I might as well mix some of this now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so on. You get the gist. Just get it to a consistency where it's nice and thin. Give it a good mix. And that's a nice thinned out red. So just do that sort of with your colours. So we've got them ones mixed up. With these pots, you get little lids, so you can drop the lids on the tops of these to save your paint. I'll try and find a link specifically to these ones, but there are loads on Amazon. I'll get the closest ones to these for you, so you can save your paint like that. We're going to mix a flesh tone up, so I'm going to go straight in with this orange colour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 10 drops there. We're going to go water again. ISO. And now we're going to drop a little bit of, tiny bit of blue. Let's just try that. Go for a drop of red. You're making like a brown colour again. Now I'm going to just bring this up with some white. and drop one more drop of red in. That'll do. We've got that skin tone consistency there like that. So we go with that. I'm going to just thin that down with a little bit more ISO because we're going to build this sort of very light. I have got one mixed here which is very similar, but that will do for a flesh tone for what we're using for, because the image is quite sort of that sort of colour on the face. So ballpark it like that. Have a little play around with your colours when you're mixing them. Drop your sort of orange in. That's more of like a yellowy than more of an orange. It's closer to this one. But go for an orange first, red and a yellow, then drop a bit of blue in. See how that comes out, and then you can always sort of brighten it a little bit with a little drop of white if you need to. But that will do for what we need for this little project. So we've got the colours here. We've also got a black. So I'll dilute the black exactly the same, and that will do for today's video. So that's your paints. Simple, just sort of ballpark it like that. You've not got to go weighing things out and go like so many increments of this and that. As long as you get it to the consistency, semi-skimmed milk, which the inks are basically near enough of that out the bottle, but I just like to thin it a little bit more because we're going to build the layers up. So we've got a red, we've got like a skin tone. It'll do for the video. I have got another skin tone here. I've got a few skin tones that I've mixed specifically for flesh tones, but we're going to go with the one we mixed. We've got a brown to do like the shoes, parts of the hair. We've got a black mixed up. That's the only one I didn't mix up on camera, but that's just FW inks out the bottle, mixed down with the isopropyl and water. Same sort of mix, guys, nice and simple. And we've got a blue, and we've got white. And white's one that I didn't mix as well. So white straight out your bottle, and you can thin it down. We'll do that as we paint. So they're the paints. Brush, we're going to use the Ultra, and we're going to go in with some of the settings on the Ultra as well, just so if you've got the Ultra you can sort of follow along and use some of these settings, have a play around and get used to your brush. So that's the one we're using on a 0.45 Harder and Steam Bet. As I say, links in the description to this one. I've got a little cleaning station just here. Now, cleaning products, nice and simple. I've got the DIY s.o.s for a blast through. Really good quick cleaning product, guys. You can just put the plastic nozzle on the front, blast down your brush and blast through. Job's a good one. We've got some ISO water. We've got 2K thinners to clean through. Simple kitchen towel cut into squares. Nice and easy. I've got some cotton wool pads, little round. Women use these for the makeup. They're really good for cleaning out your airbrush. We've got them, and we've got some Q-tips or cotton buds. Dead cheap, nice and simple. For the tip dry on the Ultra, artist brush, wet it, poke down or poke into the front and just clean it like that. If you wanted to upgrade your Ultra to make it easier for you when you get better and you want to upgrade the Ultra, I'll just give you this little tip now. You can drop the Evolution prong cap and nozzle setup straight on this, which will make it a lot easier to do tip dry cleaning, because you can just pinch and pull, or you can just go straight in and just give it a quick wipe on the front. You can interchange these. So if you've got the Ultra and you're thinking of either buying another Evo, you're buying the Evo or the Infinite, or you're really liking the Ultra, just upgrade the Ultra. You can drop a needle and nozzle setup in this and tweak this brush. So that's if you really like this or you wanted to buy another brush. So they're all the bits. I'll move you in a little bit closer and we will set up the air pressure and test our first paint mix. Right, guys, we are setting up the brush to start painting. Now, to set your air pressure, there was a comment in the comments from last night's video about you'll get pressure drop on your airline. Now, you probably will with a long airline coming down. Now, I've got a big compressor, so I don't get pressure drop. I've got a big 150 litre one outside, and that runs sort of bigger spray guns. So you will press your trigger down like that and then adjust your compressor gauge regulator and bring it up to 25, and then you've got guaranteed 25 from your compressor up your line to your brush. So that's 25 straight in, and then we can dial this down. You had the pressure drop there. We can bring this up and down to what we want. Now we are going to be working on low pressure on this, so we'll drop it down to probably 10 psi on that, and we'll work on this. But I'll pop this up in the screen, at the bottom of the screen, when I change the pressure. If I'm sort of off over here and you see me fiddling around here, I'll drop it in the corner of the screen so you get a gist of where we are on the pressure when we go around this. So the first thing I want you to do is drop some water in it and just give your brush a little blast through. If you've got some black card, it works really well because you can see the spray. Looking into the spray pattern to the black card, you'll see your spray pattern coming out. So that is running nice. The first tone that we're going to go in with on this picture, we're going to work sort of the facing. So I'm going to drop the skin tone in first, and then we're going to outline this afterwards. So I'll have like a black outline. So it's going to look cartoony. It'll have like a black outline around it, and this is where you're going to dial in on your trigger and following lines, working round following. As I say, don't worry if your lines go thick. Thin, it's just a practice panel to get you used to your brush, used to the settings on the Ultra. We all make mistakes. I'll be making mistakes on this because it's something that I don't usually do, is line stuff out. You've seen in my videos where I'm just using shields, and we are going to be using these as well. So it's going to be a lot to take in for a beginner, but just take your time and we'll get there. So we've got the flesh tone. We're going to drop a bit of that into the brush. Just pull it through out the way of your piece of artwork, and then go to the side and just try it. That's 25. Now that will spray that, not a problem, but I don't want to be working at 25, hitting this small area. So I want to be bringing that in to around 10. I want to be working low. And that's atomising that okay. We could probably go a little bit thinner. So I might drop another drop, a couple of drops of water into that. Just give that a little mix round in your brush, pull it through, and we're good to go at that. So we've got the eyes that we don't want to get any paint in. Now you could shield these off, but as I say, it's just a practice panel just to get you used to the brush. We're going to move the setting down to, let's just try level 3. No, we're going to go, I'm so used to using full trigger. We're going to use base. Base coat setting seems to put just the amount of paint we want. So you're going to take it back to the base coat setting, and we're just going to puff in a bit of paint round the face. You can go over the moustache, onto the nose. We're going really light. And that's the beauty of this brush. It's like, you get a lot of feedback with this brush. If you're thinking of the Ultra, it's a very nice brush to start off with because you're getting that feedback. As you can see, I'm just working round and puffing a bit of paint. Now, grab one of your shields, one that you've cut. Find one that sort of looks like it can go around the ear. Probably that. And you can just hold it, move it around the shape, and puff that paint in. Bit around that jawline. Like that, and just work it round. Work it up, move it up to your line. Your lines are going to stay there. Just move it up to that line edge as a guide. and just puff the paint in. So we're working it around the face like that. Now we've got the eyes that we could shield off. So find a shield that's going to sort of cover the eyes up. That one might do it. And puff round the shield like that. We'll fill in that gap in between the eyes. Don't worry about going over the eyebrows because they're darker. They're a brown, so we can go straight over that. Same as the sideburn bit of the hair coming down, you can work that in. So bouncing it back to the base coat setting, so you're going down for air, you can only take it so far back, and you're just keeping your air on and just puffing that trigger back till it stops. Distance, I'm around 3-4 inches away. 10 psi, it seems really nice at that. So we're just working around that eye like that. Just shield it the best you can. So just puffing the paint in, getting a nice even tone round that face and round the nose. Like that. So you get a nice one tone all the way over the face. So you've got the face coloured in. Now what you can do now is you can give it sort of a bit of depth. Onto the nose, grab a shield that goes to the nose, like that, and we're going to go for a darker pass just underneath, like that. So I'm taking it up to the base coat setting, and I'm doing like a dagger stroke on and off, and just building that tone up and making that nose look a little bit more three-dimensional. Just going over, keep going over, just building it up and building it up, and just roll it around the top to make it look a bit more rounded off. Keep your little highlight in the centre there, and you can do that to the nose. You can do that to the bottom of the chin area as well. Just do a darker tone to the bottom, like that, and that just rolls that face round a bit. I'm about 2 inches away, 10 psi. The brush is performing really nice at this, atomising really well. You're just rolling that off like that, and you're just creating, coming up the side of the jaw, you're just creating that rolled effect and give it a little bit more shape. Like that, and then you can do the same into the eye sockets just below. Coming down like that, just drop a darker tone in there. Same in the bottom of the ear. You can get the bottom of the ear, get a shield that that one looks quite good, and just do a little pass, sort of aim for your shield, and then just start to move up. So aim it on your shield, start to move up, and just drop a little bit around the bottom of that ear. Don't worry about going over, I've gone over the line, like that. I've got the curve here on the ear. Turn the tablet on so I'm looking at the collars. You can go right up close at 10 psi with this, and you can dagger stroke back to the base coat setting. Drop a little bit there, you can drop a little dark pass there, another one there, like that. Bottoms of the eyes you could do the same, do a little pass underneath on that one. On this piece here where the hat is, grab another shield, one that's gonna, that might do it. you can do a little pass under there, just to make that a little bit darker, because that would be darker because you've got the peak of his cap. A little bit more around the bottom of that chin. A bit dark around the eyes. Coming down. A little bit more under the nose. So with these colours, they're an opaque. So you could hit it and you could get that tone straight away. Bang, you'd hit it straight away. But if you build it up light like we have here, build it up and build it up very light, backing off about 3 inches and just puff it in very lightly, you can work these like a transparent. So we've got the face in. Your excess paint, you're not going to need it, so it's time to clean your brush out. Now, you got your paint in like that, so bring your pressure back up to 25. Just blast through your existing bit of paint, drop a bit of water, get your artist brush and just wash your cup out like that. If you've got a cleaning pot where you can put your brush, the front of your brush in and blast through, use one of them. I have got one, I should have used it for this, but I've not, it's in the other room. So I'm literally going to excess water, pour out into a bit of kitchen towel, finger in with the kitchen towel like that, blast through again, and clean it through like that, nice and simple. Right, we're going to continue with the face, and we're going to drop the blue mix. So a couple of drops of blue in your brush, go to the side, you're on 25 because you just started cleaning, go to the side, drop it down again to 10. Now we want to take the setting to number one. Number one on the ultra seems good. About an inch away, you can get a little bit of paint in. Job's a good one. We're going to move on to the centres of the eyes. Now we've got a darker tone to the centre, so we're just going to get the paint on. And just draw in. Once you get your paint there, rock the trigger on, move up a little closer. I think we're out of paint, didn't put enough paint in. A little bit more paint. Make sure it's on one. And just get your paint on and then start to move with your brush. So you're bringing the paint on and move with your brush like that. Same with this one, it's a little bit closer to the paper, but on that setting at 10 psi, on that sleeve setting, sometimes you'll get it where you've got it on that sleeve setting. I've got it now where it just struggles to pull through a bit. Flick it to open trigger, give it a little blast through, take it back to 1. So we've dropped them centres in there. Now we're going to go back to, we'll go back to base, and we'll just, base seems good, 2 or 3 inches away, test it to the side, and we've got like another pass of blue around the edge. So if you've got your shield to hand, we're just going to shield off this outer as best we can and just puff in a light tone of blue. On the actual image it's like a baby blue, it's a brighter blue, but it doesn't matter. Just a little bit round that part of the eye. We've got another piece there, so we can put the shield up like that, aim on your shield and just bring it in from the shield here as though you're drawing a line down your shield, and you're just puffing it into that area. So we've got a little bit there, that's enough, that will do. So that's them eyes in. We've got the good old Posca paint pen. This is something I didn't mention. I'll leave a link in the description. Posca paint pen, and then you can just drop we'll drop a highlight there, and we'll drop one there. So a couple of little dot highlights, put them in place, that'll do for that. So as we've got the blue in the brush, he's got like blue bottoms on, coming across. So we're on base still. Now I'm going to set this to, yeah, we'll keep it on base. And I'm going to just thin this mix just a little bit. I just dropped a little bit more ISO in there. Right. Sleeves of his top are red, so we've sort of got to sort of shield that off the best you can. So we'll come in here and just, we're working off that base coat setting, so you can only take it back so far. It'll only go so far on the trigger back. Your distance is key on this. You're going around about 2 inches away, keeping it close to that shield. 2 inches away, but aiming towards the shield, and you're puffing the paint in. You're taking it back to the stop of the base coat setting and then bringing it forward. So you're doing like a dagger stroke, but just puffing it backwards and forwards. Moving along, follow your shield along, and just work round the top like this. You can go on to this bit here, it's not a problem. And just shield off the red areas like that. And we're aiming to just get a flat tone in here. So on and off the trigger, I'm doing sort of passes like this. I'm not doing line passes to fill it. I'm doing like little circle passes like that. Shield that piece off there, just bring it in. See, I've gone over the line, doesn't matter. We're just going to put a tone in. Shielding off this piece here. Shield off that piece. Guarantee, cutting the shields out randomly, you'll get the shapes that you're after. You've not got to specifically cut out the shapes to mirror match it, just do some random ones. Turn the tablet on. Working down here, I want to just shield that hand off. The beauty of this base coat setting and working at 10 psi, it slows you down. You've not got to rush, you can just take your time. Because it doesn't put a lot of paint down, as you can see. It just puffs a bit of paint in So sort of circular motion is just going over and building the layers up. Let's grab another shield. We'll keep with this one. Should have done some more straights on this. Doesn't matter. Just come down that leg bit there. Shield off the shoe. Working down. As I say, don't worry if you're going over the edges. Don't beat yourself up. It's just a practice to get you working the trigger, getting some paint down at low pressure, getting your paint mixes so they run at low pressure. It's just all practice, guys. Start filling this bit in. Can you hear the pigeons? Everyone says on my videos, always hear the pigeons in the background. They always come out when I film. Just working the shield, go up to your line, puffing the paint in. This is good practice for using shields like this. Gets you being able to work one-handed, using your airbrush and holding the shield up. So we're just going to fill this in now. Just give it a tone. That'll do. That first tone there will do. We've got to bit up these here. So shield the face. And just puff a little bit of paint in. 2 inches away. Now we are going to get a colour shift on this because we've got to go yellow on top of that for the buttons, and there's a little bit of blue there. You'll see a colour shift to a green. So if you can mask these off, if you wanted to keep them really clean, you can do that. So I'm just sort of freehand now, dagger strokes, very lightly, just back to the circular motion, just filling that in. Right, it's got some sort of creases and like the pocket and little bits here, so we can do the similar sort of thing here to this bit. You can go a little bit darker under here. Just flicking away from the corner and just create sort of a little shadow down here. Same under his hand, you'd have a shadow sort of here. You got to think the inside of the legs, you'd have a little one here, sort of coming up. A little bit darker here. If you've got the reference close to this image, you can look at the image and you can see where the light source is coming in. So if the light source was coming in this way, this piece would be bright, you'd have darks under here. This would be a little bit lighter. You could go a little bit sort of darker up close here. You could go darker here. Like that. So I'm still on the base coat setting. I'm just working a little bit closer. We'll extend that little shadow out here and into here. Bring this one round a bit here. Do one under here. Just give him a little bit of a belly. Because my Mario's a full-on power drinker and he's got a beer gut. We'll do a little crease down here. bit more down on this. And you're just making that shapes look a little bit more three-dimensional. I'm going to do a little pass on here, make that darker. There, we'll line this out, we'll make this one here. Going up about 1 inch now, it's good on that setting, 10 psi. It'll only put so much paint down. We've got the little pocket bit, we can get a shield for that. And just give that a, just line it. Bounce it off your base coat setting. It's just nice, you can just pull it straight back to that and it's just going to put that amount of paint down. We'll go a little bit more on that strap and I'm just going to drop a little darker tone under here. Like that, under this strap here. Work down into your shield, like that. So we've got that bit in. Drop a little bit more here. It's really nice to work off this with this airbrush because it just teaches you what to do. You're not going balls out on full trigger and trying to find that little bit of paint that you need. You can just click on that setting, back away 2 inches, 10 psi, and it's going to drop you minimal paint. I think base coat setting on this portrait's bang on for this size. A little bit more down here. We'll go a little bit darker in here. Just bouncing off that trigger to the stop, 2 inches away, and just filling this in. Just going to go a little bit dark around that button. You can go right up on that setting. We've got a little bit of tip dry. I can tell because the spray pattern is getting a little bit washed out. So I'm going to go water on the artist brush and just going to poke down into the front of the brush like that, and just into that way as well. Just give it a little wipe. Go to full trigger and just give it a little blast. Right, we'll go back to base, test to the side, and now that's spraying clean again. A good way of testing it is get it to 10 psi on the base coat setting, go right up with the mix and just see what your lines are coming out like. They're coming out clean. I know the tip dry's gone. Before, if I was doing that, it was blowing out slightly. It was looking a very speckled line. So a little bit more paint. The beauty of this, with this mix, you can just keep building it up. I think it's the best way to paint is just build it up. Instead of aiming to try and hit this blue straight away, you just get one big solid flat tone and you can't build off that. With this you can just sort of build it. Add a little bit more and just feather that paint in. It's more enjoyable this way. It really is, than trying just to block the colours out straight away. You can add your own little drop shadows and shapes and just make the picture your own. So that's the blue in. We've got loads of blue left, so it's another clean through, guys. Empty your brush like that. Full trigger is your best bet. Full trigger, pull your PSI back up on your valve here, blast it through. We're going a little bit of water in that. Artist brush seems to be working really well for this. This is quite a chunky artist brush. Blast it through. Blast a bit of water onto your kitchen towel and just wipe through on your cup. Blast through. Job's a good one. We're ready for the next colour. Drop your lids back on your paint. You can save these, use them another time. We're going to move on to the brown, and we're going to a couple of drops of brown in your brush. Now you're at 25 again because you've just cleaned it. So down on your trigger, start bringing that down till you hear that pressure drop. To the side, bring that pressure down. We're on full trigger, so we're going to go back to base, and that's spot on. That's working nice. So we've got the brown in. We're going to do the eyebrows. So get your shield, go to the underneath side of your eyebrow with the best shape that you've got. Just puff a bit on the shield to see what it's like. You can do another test. If you've tested there, you can go now, right, I want to do another little test just to see what it's like before you commit. And then work your way up. And you're working off the shield and up into that eyebrow. Like that. Off the shield and up. Flicking back, you can see my finger just flicking back. I'm just on and off the trigger, but keeping the air on. You've got the pass underneath, you can use that one again here. Off the shield. About an inch away, inch and a half away. Base coat settings working lovely on this brush. Puffing it up and in. Then you can do the same this way to get that sharper line. Just puff it in. When you're working in, I'm putting the paint on for about, from the shield, I'm getting it on the shield. So on the shield, moving it in, and then I'm taking it off about halfway in. Taking the paint forward and taking it off. Same here, start on the shield and then commit and work in. Puffing that paint in, like that. You can shield this way, you can do the same again that way. Flicking it in till you get the colour moving up. So we've got an empty gap here. We're just starting on the shield and you're just filling it in. You're taking it up to that point, nice and simple. The brush is doing the bit for you, the work for you, because it's giving you the right amount of paint and you're filling that area in. The tash is, on my picture here, he's got a black tash, black eyebrows and brown hair. Well, I've gone brown hair. We're going to go, he's going to have a brown tash. He's used just for men, it's fine. So we're going to just shield off the bottom of this nose. So grab a shield, that'll do. That one's all right. Now we're doing the same again. We're going to just puff in, and you on this one, because it's close to this edge, we're going just off that shield now. Very lightly, basically going tight towards the shield. And it creates you a line, a sharper line. So an inch to an inch and a half away, puffing it up to that base coat setting and just moving it very tight to that shield. So you're getting a tight line with a little bit of overspray. Same here, do the same here. Just work in tight to there. This bit you've got a little bit more room, so you can do the same again off the shield. Careful of not hitting this part of the nose. Off the shield, angle your brush sort of this way, so you're not aiming paint at this bit here. You're coming in here like this, and you're just close to the shield, creating that nice tight line like that. And you can work around all of this moustache like that. You can come in this way, same again. Same again, and work round like that. Just follow the shape, move it up to your pencil line like that. Work it round. Just following the shapes. You're on the base coat setting, so you've not got to worry about putting too much paint down. The brush is putting the right, correct amount of paint down for you. You're just getting your distance. Your air pressure's set, you're not going to worry about that. You just basically set your distance and work off that shield. So you've got that bit in, now you've got to colour it in. So you can go straight in and commit because you're aiming for here. Centre of this piece. Get your paint on and then just move with your brush and just you're going up to that overspray line that you've just created with the shield. You're just filling it in. I'm on and off the trigger up to the base coat setting. When you're coming round here, just start to move in a little bit closer. And just puff the paint in. When you start getting a bigger area, you can start to move back a little bit to fill it in. Coming up to a tighter point, work the trigger, and then you can start filling it in like this, where you're dagger stroking it and filling it in. But them techniques will come in time where you can go into them little corners, find the paint instantly and work away from that tight line. Like that. So if you just go for backing off for a start, 2 inches, puffing the paint in like that. It works. Go around your edge first, bring the paint in off your shield and then just fill the area in. So we've got that in, we've got the tash in, that in. We've got this part of the hair here. I think there's a little bit of hair. I think he's got a mullet on my picture. We'll drop a mullet, he's going to have a mullet on this. So we're going to go the same again here and just come off the shield, create that tight line, like that. Off the shield, same again like you did on the tash. Create that line. In the corner there, we'll use that bit. Create that. Create that bit. That's a good piece for the ear. And then go to the centre of it again. And just fill it in. Like that. Let's drop his mullet in. So we're going to go same again. Shield the face off. Work round tight up to that shield to give you that nice sharp line. And you can see the paint hitting that shield, so I'm sort of going half on, half off. Like that. We'll do that bit there. Same again. Work round. I'll just drop that bit in there. And then I'm just taking it back to the trigger stop base coat setting, and it's just putting the right amount of paint down. So that's filled in. We can now, he's got brown shoes. So you're basically doing the same again. You are working round the shoe, sort of like that. That's a good one to do there. And we'll just drop the tight line in against that. Inch away, pull it right back to the setting, drop the paint in. Like that. Work round, come off the shield and just puff it in like that. Bottom of the jeans, we're going same again, up to the shield, dropping a line in. I'm going to bring the pressure up. I think we're running out of paint. A little bit more paint in there. And a little bit of ISO. My mix is a little bit thick. I'm going to flick that to full trigger, pull it through, give it a good blast through, and then drop it back to base. Test it, that's working better. And we're going to fill the shoe in. Can do this freehand because we've mapped it out. We've got a nice bit of overspray in, and we can work up to that overspray. So we're just going to drop a tone like we did the jeans. I'm doing lines on this now, just overlapping 50% up to the base coat setting, on and off the trigger, like that. Doing the pass that way and then filling it that way. Now we can add a bit of shape to these. We can start going a little bit closer, dagger stroke on and off, drop a little tone from the back, go a little bit darker there. We can round this off and just put a little bit of tone in. Like that. Just working it up. That'll do. Move on to the next one. There's some weird thing going on here with his shoe where some of these dot to dots, you draw the lines out and it turns Mario into something completely different. So I'm going to go down here with that and just do a line that way through his shoe. Follow it round again. Inch away, base coat set in. Pressure's up a little bit more on this because I want to sort of block this out a little bit quicker. So I've just upped it to around 15. You can just follow that round like that. Let's grab another shield. Try this one. Work it round up to the shield to give you the nice tight dark line in like that. You can work around. So doing the same again, doing a pass. So you've got that nice overspray coming in. Bottom of the jeans here. Same again. Work it in like that, and then we can just tone that in. Nice flat tone to start off with, even. Just on and off the trigger, about 2 inches, 2.5 inches away. Aiming the brush inside that area. You're going to get little bits of overspray here, but it's very, very soft and subtle. It's either in or there. Then we'll just build another tone up. And you're just creating that shape. If you've got, as I say, if you've got the reference of this one coloured in, I couldn't find actually this one with the dot to dot of him coloured in. It will benefit you because then you can see where the dark lines are and you can just build it up. You can build it up to what you want. I'm just going from sort of what I'm thinking. I'm going to just put a darker tone here. a bit dark around the bottom. These movements that I'm doing now that you see where I'm just trying, these will come in time, guys. You'll just go in dagger strokes, and I'm just literally following the shapes. See, I'm going up sort of close there. But I'm still using the base coat setting, which is nice because I know it's going to put that amount of paint down. So I got the shoes in. That bit's in, all that's in. What we can do now is we can use the brown tone. We can back off 3 inches and we can just darken under there. Get his shield and we can put a pass. That's the one I want, that one. Under here, back off. Puff the paint on until you just start to see it tone the bottom of that chin. So you're moving this up to the bottom of the face. And you're just putting a tone in over the top. Like that. And just work a little bit of that brown up into the cheek here. And up the side of the face here. We can then hold the shield. Just do a little pass under them eyes. Well, above the eyes, below the. A little bit more on the nose in this corner. If you're backing off about 1 inch away and just taking it back to that stop, it'll just put you the right amount of paint down. On the ear, let's just pop a little bit on that ear, a little bit of colour. So that's that bit in. We can now move on to the red. So we're cleaning the brush again. Full trigger, take your PSI back up to full. Any excess paint, drop it in, back into your pot. We're done with the brown, so we can drop the lid on that and you can save that for another project. If you wanted to do another one of these, you've got plenty of paint. Blast it through, water again, in with your artist brush, blast it through. Like that. I'm going to give the cup a little wipe out. I'm going to get a little bit of, wherever it is, a little bit of thinner. Or if you've got airbrush cleaner, I've got a little bit of spillage down the side of the cup. Now I like to keep the brush clean when I'm working, so just give it a good clean now, because you've been painting for, I don't know, we've probably been painting 20 minutes, probably a bit longer. Now's when things start to go wrong if you don't clean. You'll have a build up. It's now a good time to, you've got this far. You don't want to ruin it now, you've got this far. Give your brush a little check over. Blast it through with some water. Give it a good clean. We'll go in with the brush and just check tip dry now. Give it a clean. Little blast through, another blast through with some water. And I can see that that is spraying nice, blasting it through on that high pressure. And now we're good to go for the red. Drop some red in your brush. Pull it through. Go to the side, bring your pressure back down to around 10. Now that, you can see it, spitting. It's very grainy. We don't want to go in with this on that mix looking like that, grainy. So I'm going to take a little bit of that paint out. So I've got a couple of drops in. And now we're going to ISO it, a little bit more ISO, We want to thin this one down, a little bit of water. Give that a little pull through, turn your pressure up. We'll pull it through again. Get it on that base coat setting. Drop that pressure. Down. We're on base. That's better. You see that? That was really grainy before and spitting. Very dotty, but now we've got it better. That could go a little bit more actually. A little bit more ISO in there. Sometimes I can usually get a cotton bud as well quickly and just mix it with a cotton bud inside quick. People will be going, no, what you're doing, all the cotton bud's going to go in the brush. It very rarely does. Just get the reference up. Right, we're just going to go to the side. Just test this brush. So go up close, just see what the atomization is like. You'll see what your pattern's like. Right, we've got that flowing nice now. I'll just give that a little bit more air. So we're probably running around 12, 13 PSI. And at that, that's spraying clean. You've got that clean line. You've not got that graininess at that low pressure where it was struggling to atomize it. It's just that little up in the air and you're good to go. So we're on to the hat with the red. So we want to shield off really this centre bit because that's white. So up close with your shield, create a line round this, just a fogged out line, so you spray away from your shield, from the centre and away. You're on low PSI, you're on the base coat setting, so you've not got to worry about how much paint you're putting down because this brush will do it. Like that. So you've gone round that just to keep that area clean. You could, if you wanted to, if you've got application tape, you could drop a square of application tape. In fact, we'll do that now. I might as well take you through that process now. Right guys, I didn't turn the camera mics on here, but I'll talk you through what I'm doing. Stick a piece of application tape on the hat and then you will see the pencil lines through from your artwork. Pencil round, like you can see what I'm doing here. So pencil around the outer, we're doing the M to the middle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put that on a cut mat and then cut them two pieces out. So we'll move on to the next piece. So I've cut that out, place it back up to your lines on your artwork. Like that. Just stick it in place. And then you're good to go to spray again. You're not going to get any overspray on that centre white piece, so that'll keep it nice, crisp and clean, and then you can work around that. And that's what we're going to start now. We're going to test the brush again. Because I've just gone on for a break and a cup of tea, I've left it to one side. I just want to check it, go back in. We're on the base coat setting, 10 PSI, and I'm just working round that centre logo, just darkening it off. Get the shield again, and we're going to go in and just start to shield off the ear, the face, and start to work round, just putting that passive painting like you can see on the logo, just where the brush is. We're going to go for that like fogged pattern around the edge, working up close, about an inch away on this. Base coat setting, sprays really nice to get that nice tight sharp line. Starting to come round the top of the hat, around the side there, a little bit of paint, and you're just basically mapping out that hat as you're going round. Just find the shapes on your shield. You can, what I would recommend to do is as well, when you've projected your artwork up, and it's like projecting onto your piece of white paper, just put a piece of your card up to say where the hat is, get a sharpie the outline, and then you can cut that shape out. If you want to cut the intricate shapes, you can do. You could cut the side of his body out, the bottom of the chin, the eyes. You can cut whatever shape you want out, just to help you along the process when you're painting. There's loads of easy ways of doing it. This is an easy way, but you can make your life a lot easier. So just working around the hat, filling in the hat. The next video that I'm going to do for the beginners is we'll do a similar one to this. We'll do another sort of character like this, but I'll show you when you can really sharpen it up and make it look sort of AI artwork where it's really crisp, everything's sharp. We'll just do a full piece with application tape, and we will cut out all the intricate bits and we'll place the different pieces in. Then you'll see how sharp you can get it, and we'll have an actual reference, because the reference I've got, as you can see, it's completely different shape. It's the right character, but it's just a completely different shape, and you've got light reflections coming in. He's sort of face on looking at you. The one we're working on is on the side, so I'm thinking that the light source is coming from top left, so I'll highlight this, as you'll see later on, to where I think the highlights will be. So just working round the top part of that head there, holding the shield up, just keeping as much overspray and as sharp as I can off that face. So we'll work all the way around the hat, and then we'll start toning it in. So a double reminder, guys, just do double check your brush. Don't go to paint this all the way through. You've seen in the beginning stages when we were changing colours, you blast through, give it a good clean, drop your next colour in. We'd worked like the face, the hair, the trousers, the shoes, and then I said, right, it's time to give it a good clean, double check your brush, check the tip dry, because a lot of beginners can get carried away. We all do, I've done in the past, and you just continue painting and painting and painting, and you're not checking the tool that's in your hand, and it gets clogged up. You've got all this way, and then you go for your first pass again from having a break. You don't test it at the side, and then wallop, you get a load of splatter over your piece of artwork. So just double check your brush. If you get your paint consistency like mixed like we have, nice and thin, so you can build the layers up, you will have no dramas when it comes to changing your colours, dropping the next one in. They'll flow near enough, all of them the same. You won't have any problems at all. If you can hear barking in the background, it's the dogs. We've got a new puppy and it's terrorising our older dog. So that's what the noise is in the background, because I'm now sitting in the lounge. I've filmed this and I'm just doing the voiceover in the lounge just to get this bit finished for you guys. So working on the peak, you can see me there, like I'm saying about putting your hand up. If you wanted to do a line underneath that, you see how I'm doing that full line pass? Put your hand up to your other hand and then rest your hand on your artwork and give it a guide and slide with your lower hand and just keeping it in place. So your brush is steady, you've set your distance, your brush is set up on the base coat setting with the air pressure, and you're basically just going down for air, straight back for paint, and then move with the brush. Get used to moving with your brush. Try not to be really sort of rigid and sort of just dotting it down, sort of move, get a flow with it. Airbrushing is more, you've got to relax. Make sure your room is half decent temperature. There's nothing worse than trying to paint in the cold, because you tend to sort of lock yourself up and your body goes tight. You can shiver because you're holding a cold brush. I've had it in the past in the studio where it's been cold, and it is a nightmare painting in the cold, guys. So if you've got room temperature, if you're indoors, happy days, you're good to go. But if you've got a studio outside, just crack the heating on for a bit and just warm it up. About 20 degrees, nice to sit in, comfortable, and you get good to paint. So just filling in this piece here, just doing sort of line overlapping techniques just to fill this in. nice and easy. You can do the circular ones as well, but I'm just doing the line ones and just overlaying and just building this very light red up and just over the top, and just keep going over and over until you get the full opaque that you want. Back in with the shield just to shield off that ear while I paint this corner piece in here. Just make it a little bit darker. Checking for tip dry again. You'll notice this with the Ultra, because you can't take the crown cap off. When you're spraying low pressure, it's like the paint's not clearing the front of the brush quick enough. It's sort of, because it's low and you're close up, you'll get a bit of bounce back that will just choke the crown cap up. You'll find this with them style crown caps on any other airbrush as well. You'll get a build up on the inside and it will start to ring on the inside of the crown cap, and then that builds up and builds up and builds up, and then eventually it will splatter. That's why I said if you wanted to upgrade the Ultra and make it more, I'd say more user friendly, is the prong cap. Switch over to the prong cap off the Evo. You can drop your 045 in it, drop the new head on with the prong cap, and it'll make that brush a lot better, a lot more user friendly, I think, because you've still got your two prongs to protect your needle but you've got easy access to the front, and you'll get less build up when you're painting. So we've filled the hat in, just working some more tones in. I do tone this red down in a minute, and what I'm going to do is just drop a drop of black into this mix, just to do some shading on the actual hat. Now I've got the puppet chewing my ear as I'm trying to talk to you guys. Sit down. So yeah, just filling in the rest of this, putting the tone in. And now we're removing the centre, the M in the middle of the hat. I don't think I cut this through enough. You'll see me just recut it on the paper. You can do this if you're working on a gas tank or a bonnet and you've got application tape. You see a lot of people that cut their stencils out with the masking on the actual vehicle. Now you can do that, but you've got to be really good with a scalpel, because you've got to put minimal pressure down, actual cut into the paintwork. And the bad thing about that is when you cut into paintwork, if you're spraying on automotive stuff, if you're using solvents that are going on top and you cut into paintwork, you sometimes can get fry-ups, especially if you're using base coats over your base coated panel and you've cut into that panel bodywork as you're cutting your stencils out. That solvent that you're putting down and spraying on can go into them little cut marks and you can get tiny little fry-ups. So you've got to be careful of that if you are using application tape on gas tanks, things like that, and then you're fine cutting out. Just be very light. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to cut application tape. So we're now filling in the M, same setting on the base coat, now removing that outer, and that gives you that nice crisp sharp edge. And that's what I mean by we could do this whole image with application tape and you would get it as crisp as that, nice and sharp all the way around on this image. Just keeps it nice and clean. So I think the next thing we are going to be starting is the top. So it's same again, guys. We're on the same setting base coat, seems to work really well. This sort of size on the A3 base coat setting 10 psi, that thinned out paint just works really nice. Working around the side of the arm with the shield again, just find the shape, bring the shield up to your pencil line and then just spray just off the shield and let the overspray come in. So you see that half moon red edge. You've got a little bit of overspray coming in. I'm just working around his denim top and bottoms. Same again, just spraying around that. That's the small little button on his top. Gone round that, down the side of his dungarees, and then you're filling that in again. So you're just sharpening all the edges up and then toning the inside. So once you've got that edge, where you see the white centre there, you can start there to fill it in. You can start your paint stroke on that centre piece of his arm there where it's white, or come away from a darker edge and just work it in like that. And if you're going up close, you've not got to worry with this because you're on the base coat setting and you're at a PSI that you can control and go straight up close. You can go 5mm away from the paper with 10 PSI, that mix on that setting, not a problem. You're not going to get any bleed out or spider webbing. It's just the correct pressure for going in at that sort of distance. And that's why I prefer painting with thinner paints now. Thinner paints working on paper, low PSI, and then you can just bring the tones up and then you can start working it. We could really stylize this piece of artwork. Once it's all in this tone, we could go back in. You're going to see a little bit later on, we drop some highlights in, a little bit of shading just to darken things off. Just working around his top. So up close, shielding off the dungarees. Just puffing that. You can just see my trigger finger moving backwards and forwards, but keeping the air on at all times. Under the chin, and then off the misted spray line coming in, and then just fill it in. Right up close on that piece, underneath the chin. And that's that bit done. And then we'll do the same coming round the arm this side. Shield off the dungarees, spraying inwards, getting that nice tight red line, and then with a little bit overspray, and just work the same way. Shield, work your way round, and then you start to fill it in. And if you had the reference of this image, you could then start shading it. We tone down the red in a bit, and I just do some drop shadows. You're going to see that coming up. But if you are thinking of an Evo, highly recommend it. Brilliant brush, solid. You get really good feedback on the trigger. Because I'm sort of past the beginner's brush stage, picking this up and reverting back to like a beginner's sort of insight into airbrushing, you can really get a good sense of feel with this brush, with the feedback on the trigger. Nice comfortable trigger top on the Ultra. The sleeve settings work really nice. Sometimes you can be working and you can slightly catch the sleeve setting with your thumb. We'll see where my thumb is, and you can slightly move it. If you're picking your brush up and down, you can slightly knock it out of place, so you could catch between two settings if you're not careful. So just double check the setting that you're in, place your thumb on. It's just how I hold the brush, but the settings work really well. Cleaning it is dead easy. As you've seen, we've been dropping water in between colours. Artist brush, I find, in the top of the cup, swill it round with the artist brush, full trigger, turn your PSI up and just blast it through, and then you're good to go for your next colour. The only bugbear I've got with it is the crown cap for me. I think the Evo one works a lot better. Just, it's a lot more user friendly than the crown cap that's on it. I can see why they've done it. It's full protection of the needle at the front, because beginners, you drop your brush, you go to put it in the hanger. I've done it where I've gone to put the brush in the hanger, it's flipped out, hit the floor, and if you've not got a crown cap on, you're going to bend your needle and then you've got to replace, and then it's costing you money. So I can see why they did the crown cap as it is. It's sort of like a bulletproof design to protect the needle. But coming from someone who's been painting for a while, it can be a little bit of a bugbear. So the Evo front end would be absolutely sweet in that with the prong cap, so you've still got that protection, but you've got that little bit more visibility of the needle, so you can see it. You'll be able to see if you're getting tip dry, you'll see your needle change colour, and you can just check that way as you're painting, because you're staring down at where your needle is. You can see it at all times. But that's the only thing. Everything else on that brush, absolutely spot on. The weight, I think, is perfect. It's a chunky brush as well. Some brushes are a lot slimmer. They come up quite, it's thick bodied, so you know you've got something in your hand. Robust, solid, triple plate chrome on that brush as well. So cleaning it is an absolute dream. You just literally get some solvent cleaner if you've got dried up paint on it, and it just wipes straight off. So we've filled that bit in. Right, I've jumped forward, guys, because I've just checked my gig that I've got left to get this edited, and I've not got much, so I'm having to crop it down slightly. I've gone in, if you see the hat around the badge, I've dropped another tone. So I've got a red, dropped a bit of black into it, drop of black, and just toned round the logo at the top, so it's a little bit darker. Gone round under the peak of the cap, that's just a little bit darker. And now I've got just normal black, the thinned out black, and I'm going under the nose and just dropping a tone. You can just see under that nose there into the moustache part. We're working on level 3, I think this is, on the airbrush sleeve setting, and we're just toning now a little bit round the portrait. You're going to see it drop a little bit in where the eyes are, just very light black, just a little shadow underneath the eyebrows. Like that. And I just sort of go around the portrait now and start to drop shadows in where there would be, sort of under his hat. As you can see now, I'm just putting a little band in under here and just darkening it off, just to give it that little bit of separation between his forehead to the hat, and just give it that little, like, sort of tiny little sort of drop shadow underneath. So we drop that bit in. What I'll do now is I'll skip forward quickly to the next part. So we've done the bit under the nose, and now you can see I'm just working in the corner of his dungarees with black, shielded off, and just putting a little bit of shading in there. I've gone round his sort of belt line, put a line passing there where the pocket is, holding the shield, just doing the bottom of the jeans now. Little drop shadow just to separate the shoe to the dungarees, and I'll do the same the other side. Just holding the shield up again. Stick to your level 3 setting so it's minimal. A little bit around the bottom of the shoe. A little bit of shading around the front. Same on this one. So I'll go around the whole piece doing this, and we'll move on to the next stage. Right, as you can see, we've gone round with the black. Just gone in all them little pieces, holding the shield, giving it a little sort of drop tone. I'm now setting the brush up with the yellow in it. This is just straight yellow, a little bit thinned out, to do the buttons in the yellow. So go to the centre of the dot, get your paint coming out, and then just work it up, just start to fill them gaps in. So that's it for the yellow, only a single bit on the yellow on this bit. We'll jump forward to the next stage. Right, now we've dropped some of the white in, and I've gone for level 2 on this. So I've dropped a little white highlight on tops of the yellow buttons, And now I'm just dropping a little pass on the sides of the arms. And this is what I said about where I'm judging where the light source is coming in. Having a little bit of trouble with the white paint. White can be an absolute pain, guys, it really can. Get your consistency just right, give it a really good mix. I was opening up the pressure there and just sort of just testing this white, getting the mix right, because it's coming out very grainy. So I'm just coming down this arm now and just dropping a highlight in on the top on that arm, and I basically go round dropping a highlight where I think these highlights would be if the light source was coming in sort of top left. A little bit down the jeans, tops of the shoes. You could even drop shadow him. You could do a little like black drop shadow around his feet. Bit on top of the hat, bit on the peak, top of the nose, and we're about there. So we got it down with the aid of a voiceover at the end. I cannot believe that. I've come back in, had a cup of tea, come back in, and we started off and we dropped the application tape there. I've just stopped recording, looked down and noticed this mic was off, that one was off, and I just hit record and got painting. So we've done a voiceover. So hopefully I've talked you through what I did in them stages correctly. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Last thing to do, guys, is clean it. Now I've blasted through with water. I'm just going to get some of the s.o.s spray with your air on. Just give it a blast of this stuff and this will just clean straight out anything. Back in with the water. Check your spray, lovely and clean brush again. Get a bit of the s.o.s spray on your kitchen towel. Wipe the body down like that, and your ultra is lovely and shiny and clean again and ready for your next airbrush session. Job done. Unclip your line, pack your brush away. So nice one for beginners to practice on, guys. As I say, if you want to do a real sharp image, application tape, and you could get this looking like sort of like the actual digital art, where you can get it really sharp and have a reference. We didn't have a reference to go from. I've got this one here, but it's completely the different shape, so your shadows and things are completely different. But if you can find one that's coloured in, digital art that's coloured in, you can follow along, you can look at where the darks are. I was basically sort of doing light source this way, so I've dropped the highlights in on where I think they would be if the light source was coming across him here. I'd have a bit on the belly, a little bit on this arm, tops of the shoes, a little bit on the jeans. Job done. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Pick some tips up along the way. Sorry about the voiceover. I thought I'd turn the mics on, but I didn't. It's one thing you have to keep doing. Click this one on. This one's like a talking to this one, then this sends the signal to the camera. So you have to have that one on. Bit of a pain, sometimes you forget things because you're concentrating on everything else. So yeah, drop your comments, guys. Tell me your thoughts. If you're liking this style of beginners type stuff, we can do a lot more like this. I can do another one where we'll do a full-on sharp version where we do the application tape and apply pieces. We're going to do ones where we're working on sort of a gessoed surface where we can do some erasing on. So we can pop the highlights out with doing some erasing. We can do that as well. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, I'll always say it at the end of the video, click that subscribe. It does help the channel grow, guys, it really does. Comments, likes, shares, it all helps the algorithm, as they say on YouTube, and just gets this content sort of in more of line for people to see, and that's what it's about. There's loads of airbrushes out there, from advanced to beginners, And there's some that have come across to the channel and gone, I never even knew you was about, just found your channel today. And there's over 700 videos on the channel. So plenty of content on there for you guys. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.